Welcome back to the Blue Chip Breakdown, Vols fans. Today is the end of day 10, and we're going to be breaking down Josh Heupel's comments on the second scrimmage. First thing that stood out to me was talked about the running backs out of all the skill players, said that they looked really good, talked about them taking care of the football, and, spoke about a couple of these young guys looking good out there too.
Yeah, I'm excited about that running back room. Dylan Sampson. And that's the thing. We're missing Jabari Small and Jalen Wright.
Jalen Wright's out too, yeah.
Those are probably your top two guys. But Dylan Sampson's a guy we were big on last year. He flashed. He's looking good this year, it seems. He's kind of your speed guy and can make you miss in space. And then we heard Cam Selden mentioned too. I guess he's back, back in contact. Said Coach Heupel said he had good pad level, ran hard, was getting contact +2. Yeah. And we already know he's a speed guy too. So I think adding that to his game, that's huge. And then of course, Sean Bishop showed up as well. So
there you go.
About all those guys.
Yeah. So Bishop actually, man, it's crazy because I didn't think that Bishop was going to be, I guess, as good as he's ended up being. I saw that skill set, but my biggest knock on him was his size. But after that first day of practice, once I was able to see that he was really one of our bigger backs. You know what I mean? I said, shoot, he's really going to be something special. He has excellent vision. He runs really, really hard. Obviously, with him being from Knoxville, he's going to play with that passion. So really looking forward to seeing what he's going to do. Keith is not even on campus yet. And he's going to be huge. So let's just kind of talk about this too. One of my biggest issues last season was in the running backs blocking. They didn't always do a great job of picking up blocks. They would pick it up, but they were so small, they're getting pushed back and, making that pocket smaller. So especially against like the Georgias and the Bamas and some of these tougher teams, Keith is going to be a guy. Selden is a guy. Bishop right now even looks like he could possibly be another one of those guys that can pick up blocks, can catch the ball out of the backfield, can get downhill. So I think that we're looking really, really good there. Next point was they spoke on the offensive line. And it didn't just based off of like Heupel's. He was like, I don't think that they played great. I think we still got a ways to go there. So
that's a big concern. The O-line, like I said, I feel like we have decent pieces, at all 5 spots. It's just getting them to play together as a collective unit. Like I said, Spraggins is really the only returner. Cooper's out. And then we have a new left tackle, new left guard, new right guard Spraggins, and then new right tackle. So they're still learning to play together. It's tough to tell if you can't see it with your own two eyes. But again, I still also feel like our D line is so much better from last year too. It's really tough to really get a good read on it, but that's definitely something to keep an eye on for the spring game is how's the O line hold up.
Yeah, that's going to be probably the biggest thing that I'm going to be looking at first and foremost is offensive line in whether it's first string, second string, doesn't matter. I'm looking at that O-line. That's a huge part of this team because our offense really carries us, right? So if our offense cannot produce the way that it did last season, and if the offensive line is the biggest portion of that, then we're gonna have to. I don't know exactly what we're gonna do, but obviously Cooper Mays being out, that's huge. Like you said, we haven't really started to gel together yet. This is only week 3, so the offense has a long way to go. Offense always takes way longer than defense.
And you know what? It may be a deal where we're a couple weeks into the season before it really clicks for those guys. That's a good thing. I think we have a pretty kind of light schedule starting off. But we may be week 4 or 5 before we really see these guys start to gel.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what the Florida game is. That the third or fourth?
Usually 3. I think
it's usually third week.
Yeah, I think it was usually 3.
We got Virginia. We got we've got a very light schedule. I actually, you know what? We are ranked the weakest SEC schedule.
Really? Wow. We from Georgia? Well, I guess Georgia has to play us. Heck.
But
there you go. We got to play Bama, Georgia. We got to play all these guys.
I guess it's because of the out of conference, right? We're not really playing anybody that's tough on paper right now out of conference. So anyway, that's good that we do have time for that to all gel. One of the most consistent things that I've heard from everybody on the staff is talking about everybody really getting that chance. They don't really have like a depth chart set up. I was thinking that maybe that was kind of coach speak, but for some of the stuff like offensive line, I know that that's not coach speak. I don't think they have a clue.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of felt that way about. I was kind of shocked to hear Willie Martinez say it, and not just him, but Nico Slaughter mentioned it. Like everybody kind of mentioned, like we don't have starting roles. We kind of all just rotate.
Yeah.
And so I mean, we'll see. As soon as they're gonna let the best players play. I mean, here we'll see when the season starts. If it's Tank McCullough and whoever else.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think if they let the best players play, we may see 4 different new guys out there than we saw last year. So.
Well, if you're talking about the secondary, which Coach hyped, I don't think he spoke about the secondary really at all in his press conference. But if you're talking about the secondary, we've got a lot of good guys, and we talked about that on the last pod. I feel like we've got a lot of good quality depth there. We look a lot more physical than we did last season, which is huge for me, especially coming from those safeties. Christian Harrison was moved down to corner, not moved down like he moved, but he was moved to corner. So I think that that's pretty interesting. I would say that he would be a guy that can step in and play some nickel for you. He's versatile enough for that.
Yeah, he's a big body guy. Rodney Harrison being his dad, he's been in the weight room. And, I feel like he understands the game at a high level. To me, he's a classic example of a guy. I don't think he's going to test well. He's probably a 4'5", 4'6" type guy. I don't know how tall he is. He's probably about 5'10" or so. But he just, he seems like he's a baller. Seems like he's a technician, knows what to do. And I mean, it's going to be hard to keep him off the field. I say about a lot of those guys. A lot of those young guys in his class, that 2022 class, Jordan Thomas, those type of guys. I think these guys are ready to play. And I'd go as far as to say if these guys don't play a lot this season, I don't know if they're going to be hitting the portal or what, but
hopefully not. And then too, not to get too far off of where we started from, but I'm gonna say this with the secondary. I think that we can rotate a lot of guys. I think that the coaching staff will feel comfortable with that. If you look at what happened last season with all the injuries that we had, I think everyone on the entire team that played anywhere in the secondary played. Everybody played.
So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
So. Who do you think, if you had to put money on right now, who do you think are the starting corners? Is it Nico Slaughter, Gabe Giuliani? What about Warren Burrell? I mean,
I think that you got to go. Warren is going to be one of your starters. So we haven't seen him at all, but in summer ball, he's going to start to get more time. I think it's going to be Warren, and just based off of what Coach Martinez has been saying, and his gauge, seems like it's going to be Gabe Giuliani. Those seem like those are going to be our starting two. Now, if it was me, I mean, I'm not out there to see enough, but I mean, I think that's a pretty solid duo. But Slaughter is really good. I mean, we've got a lot of guys, man. Jordan Matthews looks really good. We've got a lot of good people. I mean, just for me looking at what they're doing and their size and their length and everything else, and just how physical everybody has looked in the little bit of portions that we've been able to see. I mean, you can kind of pick and choose, man. I think that, it could end up being a situation where based off of who we're playing, maybe they might try to switch up the whole lineup.
And that's something that Gabe Judy kind of alluded to in his, he's talking. He was like, based on what the other team's giving us, we want to mix it up and have a different guy playing safety, different guy playing corner. And that's something I love is that pretty much everybody's getting cross-trained to be able to play multiple positions. And that helps you out so much. So when I played football, in college, I just played corner. And I never really felt like I understood exactly what the safeties were necessarily doing or the backers.
That's huge.
That's huge. Understanding your leverage and where your help is, that helps you play so much, so much better, so much more effectively. So
absolutely,
I'm excited to see that defense.
Yeah, and so next thing, it sounds like the D-line played pretty well. So just to kind of go back, right, just to do kind of like an overhaul of everything that he said, it sounded like the running backs looked really good. Receivers were offensive line was and the linebackers also So we already talked about the O-line. We've got to figure that out. Again, Cooper Mays being out, it looks like John Campbell's going to be playing left tackle, and we've got Mincy playing right. Spraggins is going to be at the right guard. Still trying to figure out who's going to be at that left guard position. And I mean, we've got, shoot, it could be Ollie Lane. I think, we spoke about this on the last part too. Addison Nichols looks like he's going to be that backup center. Probably won't see him playing too much or starting at that left guard position.
Keurig, or however you say his name?
So Andre is what they've been calling him.
Okay.
Yeah, so everybody's, so everybody's just been calling him Andre. I think that he is a guard. So he played. So I mean, he's listed as a tackle. At Texas, he played tackle, and he also played like a blocking tight end.
Mm-hmm.
But if you watch his film, you can just tell his skill set is a lot more for a guard. So, you know, he could be another guy that works in there. Like I said, Ollie Lane, Andre, and, you know, I guess whoever else is going to step up, you know, maybe one of these freshmen, you know, Bryson Lang, I think, is playing guard. Right now.
Yeah. He's either guard or he's a backup to Addison at center.
Yeah, so I've seen him working in at center too.
He's definitely got that body for it. He's a big girl.
Definitely has it. You know? I'm gonna tell you, nobody's been talking about Larry Johnson.
Yeah,
but he looks physically. He looks really good.
He does. He looks like a big burly guy. But just kind of some of the clips I see. I mean, typically when I see him, he's like, you know, not the scout team, but you know, the offense is going and he's like kind of doing defense, giving him a look.
He's that look guy.
I mean, he doesn't necessarily look like he's gonna. I don't know. It's tough to really put your finger on it.
Yeah,
but I can see he has a way.
He doesn't have it. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Sometimes you can just tell. You can just tell, and that's kind of back to with what I was saying about Bishop. This is something else too. The coaches do this all the time. They want to get you up on campus when you are in high school to see that eye test to see if you're gonna pass it because they see your skill set on film. For some odd reason, I mean. Wherever Bishop is playing at that league, it's some tall dudes. It's some big dude. He looked very small on film. But if I would have been able to see him in person, I would have said, dude, he's going to be able to. He looks really good. So Larry Johnson, kind of the same thing opposite, though. He looks huge. He looks huge on film.
Yeah.
Around our guys, he looks more well put together.
He's kind of slimmed down.
Yeah, I can tell that he's lost the weight. He doesn't look as tall as big. So, you know.
Was he a guard or tackle?
So he played tackle when he was in college, but he's, you know, I pegged him as more of a guard.
Yeah, I was
like slower. For sure. Yeah, he was definitely a guard. So we'll see. Anyway, you know, I feel like we do. This is something else that Coach Heupel said, that we have a lot of more depth on the offensive line than we've had in the past couple of years. But just kind of gauging the way that he said it, it's like it's not necessarily, it's not where he wants it to be.
It's like we have more depth, but the top end isn't there. Like we don't have Darnell, we don't have Jerome Carvin. You know, like we're missing some guys. So I mean, we'll see. We'll see as guys come together. You know, that's going to be a huge, huge deal. Is, you know, the O line. Can they come together? Can they block? Can they sustain? And then Joe Milton, can they hit open receivers down the field?
And so, you know, we'll see that on Saturday, and I can't wait for that because, you know, coaches doing a much better job, I think, this time in this press conference. Not to say that he didn't do a great job in the previous one, but I think that he's kind of started to hear some of that Joe Milton, Nico talk because that was starting to kind of pick up because he did praise Nico, and it was almost like he was kind of throwing Joe under the bus just a taste. But I think that, you know, he did better this time. He didn't say much about the quarterbacks at all. So, you know, I really want to see how that whole thing looks because I'll tell you, you know, I'll be the first one to go ahead and say this. I'm not afraid of Nico starting day one. And not to say that Joe's not the guy and that he can't be the guy, but if he's not the guy, let's put our best players out there. I don't care if they're a freshman, if they're a redshirt senior, 6th, 7th year senior. That's all I'm saying.
I agree.
That doesn't matter.
I agree. I mean, you obviously hate that for Joe because he's a guy, you know, stuck it out when he didn't have to, didn't transfer, you know, rolled behind Hendon, seemed like he's had a positive attitude the whole time. And all he has to do is be able to hit the deep ball. That's his only issue. Hit the daggone deep ball, guy wide open. But, you know, from everything we've heard, it sounds like Nico is playing well.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. If Joe can't hit the open receivers, we got to go somebody else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, and listen, I don't want for y'all to, we're not saying that that's what's happening, but we're just kind of taking it one step forward and, you know, if that is the case, then I mean, best players need to play. And I think that the coaching staff is probably on the same page for the most part. So moving on to the linebackers, which it didn't sound like, well, it sounded like it was more of the younger players that weren't filling gaps right. You know, maybe trying too hard to make some big plays. Maybe some of them, you know, and this definitely happens. you see your name inside of the paper or, somebody's talking about you, you want to try to continue to live up to that billing. And you can kind of overcompensate, or you can kind of overplay and play yourself out of a play.
Play yourself out of position.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So I think it sounded like it was a little bit of that. But he also said that the open field tackling and the tackling as a whole wasn't as good as it was in the last scrimmage.
Yeah, which, you don't really want to see that. Scrimmage 2, you want to see, your tackling improve as you get further along. But, maybe that offense just had a good day. That's kind of the good thing is you see a little back and forth offense. Defense wins and offense wins. So, it seems like we have some good kind of compatibility there, both sides of the ball. But, from the clip we saw Dylan Sampson's, big run he broke in the scrimmage. And,
he was untouched.
Yeah, he was untouched. So somebody was fitting something wrong.
Yeah.
We couldn't really see who it was. But those things have to get corrected because you can't give up a big play.
Yeah. Then too, you know what? Thinking back on that, the offensive line actually looks pretty good in that. So and that's kind of back to your point. You really just don't know. It is a lot of back and forth, but at this point, since we can't see a whole lot, you don't know, okay, is the offensive line good or is the D-line bad or is the D-line good and the offensive line is bad? It's so hard to tell, but I am going to tell you this. I feel like based off of what we've seen from practices and what we've heard from the coaches, sounds like our D-line should be beating our O-line right now because they're still trying to figure it out. So, so that could be a little bit of an issue. If they're not getting sacks and stuff, I don't know, man. It's hard to tell until you can see it.
Yeah, and it's extra tough, I think, in the spring because I feel like coaches are really trying to see different guys in different spots. So there's no telling like what lineup they had out there.
Yeah.
They could have had different guys playing different things. Well, we'll know more kind of in fall camp when they're really preparing for games instead of kind of see who can do what. But right now, I feel like it's pretty good back and forth. I think it's pretty even right now.
Yeah, I would say that the scrimmage today was more of a stalemate. Which isn't bad. It's that shows that the offense does have that fight. Yeah. A lot of time it's all about 1-2, and just to take it back to the backers. I'm expecting that in this orange and white game that they're going to step up, wherever they messed up at. And hey, look, this is what spring is all about, right? Like you said, it's all about cross training and it's all about messing up so that they can get fixed going into summer ball and moving on into the fall camp.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I can't wait to see that spring game. It's just hard for me to imagine, Keenan Peely and Aaron Beasley, not fitting those, those run fits the right way. Like I just feel like those guys are so experienced. Such level-headed guys. I'm super excited about them. Yeah. Really about the whole defense. I think they have a lot of experience. And have a good mix of youth to kind of come in and, maybe a guy like James Pierce comes in, at the end or whatever and can rush the passer for a couple snaps or whatever. We just have a good mix of guys.
Yeah. It's almost perfect. It's almost more like an NFL roster, where you've really got that wide range, man. And so, I'm definitely looking forward to it. Sounds like overall we are getting better. Coach still seems pleased, and we'll see how everything transpires on next Saturday. On that orange and white game. But I also wanted to kind of touch on, just like pretty much everybody else has kind of talked about this, Kirby Smart's comments. Main thing is I really want to talk about it because I don't think anyone has really touched on the simple fact that Kirby is going out of his way to throw those types of shots in a Georgia press conference. He's scared of us, and we're taking quarterbacks. Quarterbacks are not wanting to go to his school. And you may ask yourself why. Well, okay, he's obviously from what he just said, it sounds like I'm going to make it as hard on the quarterback as I possibly can.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Why would you want to step into a situation like that when who's the best quarterback in the NFL right now? Probably Pat Mahomes, right?
Right, yeah. And
he could possibly. A lot of people saying he's the best quarterback ever. I don't know if I'm ready to crown him that yet, but I would definitely say he's top 5. He's definitely top 5. I would say that personally.
Yeah.
What kind of an offense did he play in?
Spread.
It was a spread, hurry up offense.
Hurry up, air raid, slinging around.
There are so many quarterbacks with the exact same thing. I think that old school ball, the old school mindset with the NFL and how they play, I think that's kind of getting washed away. There's no reason, we've seen it with the read options. We've seen it with, with the run pass options.
Mm-hmm.
Every team incorporates some form of this.
Right.
So to say that they can't pick up on the college game is crazy. I think that, honestly speaking, and this is going to be probably more of a hot take, I think that what it is that these NFL coaches are kind of lazy. They're kind of set in their ways.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to get pushed out of their jobs. They don't want to learn these new systems.
Mm-hmm.
But all it takes is for these younger coaches, these up-and-coming coaches, to get that chance and to come in with these new schemes. And, you know, the entire NFL is going to start copycatting. So I know I just said a whole lot with that, but I'm saying all that just to say, Kirby, right? Kirby is hating. Kirby feels threatened.
Yeah.
And he's going to have to change or he's about to get left behind.
Yeah.
And he can definitely see that with us.
I think he's about to get left behind, like you said. I mean, why wouldn't you want to have an offense that's easy on the quarterback, that has guys running wide open? I mean, like, everything he said was just so dumb. Like,
it was stupid.
He goes out of his way to bring us up. Nobody's even talking about us. But somehow, you know, we're on your mind. But I mean, like I always say, you know, they're gonna miss Stetson Bennett. I know nobody likes him, but they're gonna miss him. Like he found a way to be able to operate in their system.
Yeah.
But you look at Kirby's track record with quarterbacks, none of them been good.
It's definitely terrible. And so, you know, I can tell you exactly what Stetson Bennett did, which is the exact same thing that these other quarterbacks that are there right now that couldn't start over a walk-on are doing, which is throw the ball to the tight end.
Mm-hmm.
All of my 5 stars aren't open. I can't see them. Let me dump it off to the person right in my face.
Right.
That's their offense.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why Stetson Bennett is not picked to get drafted by any analyst in the entire world.
At all. And that's something that Hypo always says, and he's right. We probably put more on our quarterbacks than anybody in the country.
I was about to say the same thing.
We give them, I mean, based on what they see, like our whole offense is based off pre-snap reads, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to come out, see how you're lined up, and based on what you're giving us,
we're going to get to the right
our
place.
quarterback's we're going to do whatever's open. I mean, that's the same thing.
That's common sense, isn't it?
Yeah, even post-snap. You know, we're going to have a guy going deep. We're going to have another guy running the option route. Yeah. The option route's basically go get open, and we're going to throw it to you. You know what I mean? Like, it's simple, but you can't stop it, especially when you have athletes like we're starting to add to our arsenal. So, I mean, Kirby's comments were way out of line.
Yeah, that was completely uncalled for.
Yeah.
And I think also, too, whenever you talk about it being simple, I think a lot of that is just with the verbiage. Mm-hmm. It's simple verbiage in the play calls because we have to hurry up. Mm-hmm. Why hasn't that been a thing in the NFL? Why do these play calls need to be so long? They don't need to be. I promise y'all, the play calls don't have to be that long at all. That is unnecessary. So I just feel like the game is changing, and this is another hot take. We're starting to see that with Nick Saban. This is the main reason why Saban has been able to stay around as long as he has, is because he will go out and find those new young coaches, and he has his core ideas of what his football team is going to be, and he implements that throughout the entire team. But he brings in these other guys that understand the new nuances of football, and that's why their teams can stay relevant. Kirby just, brought back Mike Bobo. I don't know if he was still on the staff or if he.
Oh yeah, I think he was. Yeah.
But yeah, he was still on the staff, but he just. So I guess he just elevated Bobo to the OC. I'm telling you, Georgia's in trouble.
Yeah. And
nobody's talking about it. Georgia is in trouble.
The only thing that may save them is how weak their schedule is. I don't know who they
play. Well, they've got a team full of 5-stars.
But here's the deal. Yeah. They got us. They got Auburn. That's 2 teams right there that I like.
Hey, man, listen. Coach Freeze is going to get after.
You can't stand
He's going to have something dialed up for him.
Yeah.
I think that he's kind of feeling it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he knows.
Yeah, and I've been kind of listening to, listening to some of the press conferences from Georgia spring practices and stuff. And
I think they had 3 picks.
Carson Beck throws 3 interceptions. Okay, Carson Beck is supposed to be your starting quarterback.
And that's your savior?
Yeah, you know what I mean? 3 picks.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got, they're still doing what they always do. These underclassmen tight ends are still scoring touchdowns. Scoring, 50, 60-yard touchdowns. But they're supposed to have they're supposed to have the best wide receiving core in the country. We got all these transfers, and Georgia's in trouble, man.
Yeah, I think so.
Georgia is in serious trouble, and Kirby knows.
Yeah, when they come to Knoxville, it's going to be
they have no idea.
Store.
Hey, look, Tennessee fans, I need for y'all that game needs to be circled on y'all's calendar. It needs to be the loudest Neyland Stadium has ever been. I want payback, get back. I want for them to feel it. We can single-handedly win that game.
Yeah.
Their quarterbacks are going to falter, I promise you. They're 3 to 4 deep of quarterbacks that cannot handle this moment.
At all.
They're going to fold under pressure. And we can be that pressure that makes them fold. So
push them over the edge.
Yeah, we can definitely push them over that edge. So
like I said, hey, I'm always ready for that Georgia game. Can't wait for that. But overall, just so far in spring for us, I think we're looking good from everything I've seen. From what we heard from the coaches. And that's another thing you touched on, I think, in the last video is just how articulate and how well spoken a lot of our guys are.
Yeah, everybody sounds good.
Great head on their shoulders, and that says a lot about just like their mental makeup and like what motivates them. Kind of how they spend their free time. Like, these guys are spending pretty much every free second working to get better. And to me, like tells you all you need to know about this team and what will be.
Yeah, listen, we've got a team full of hungry players. We got a lot of players with that chip on their shoulders, and I feel very, very good, very confident in what this team is going to do just based off of that. Obviously we've still got a long way to go. We've got a lot of things to clean up, but I do think that this team is poised, and I think that we have enough talent to be able to make a better push than we did last season. I think we can capitalize off of where last year's team left off at. So, we'll see how that whole thing goes. But I think that we can wrap it up right there. I think that that's pretty good. So, as always, guys, remember, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, share it with your friends. Follow us on IG at Blue Chip Breakdown. And also, we are on every streaming platform for podcasts. We're on Spotify. We're on iTunes, Apple Music, whatever it's called now. We're on pretty much everything. So give us a follow. That's also at Blue Chip Breakdown. And we'll see y'all on the next one. Thanks. Peace.